Bienvenidos a The Grateful Leader Podcast, donde hablamos de liderazgo, desarrollo de talento y cultura laboral para gente agradecida y con propósito, que quiere evolucionar el mundo laboral. Somos sus anfitriones, Gaby y Gerardo. Bienvenidos.
Welcome to the Grateful Leader Podcast, leadership, talent development, and workplace culture hacks for purposeful and grateful people who want to shift the workplace. We are your hosts, Gerardo and Gaby. Welcome.
Welcome again to the Grateful Leader Podcast. My name is Gerardo Macías, and with me is my co-host, Gaby Picot. Hola, Gaby.
Hola. Hi, everybody. Hi, Gerardo. We have an exciting episode today with Eduardo Perez Valdes, Senior HR Manager at Visteon, and he's joining us. And Eduardo is known for his transformative leadership in the HR field. Welcome, Eduardo.
Hi, Gaby. Hi, Gerardo. It's a pleasure being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Eduardo, you have had an impressive career in HR, spanning various roles, countries, and industries. Can you start by telling us a little bit about your journey and how you got to where you are today?
Sure. So first of all, I think what has driven me to growth in HR, it's actually my honest and true love for what I do, right? I have a true passion for HR. And something that for me has been always so fascinating is how the complexity of the human being creates an impact at the workplace. So that's the first thing, right? And also, I believe that another important element of my personality is that I'm always driven by a discovery mindset, meaning that maybe I start with a narrow view of a certain field in HR, and based with multiple interactions with different leaders, employees, subject matter experts, and even doing some research, my vision gets expanded. To give you a concrete example, when I started in human resources way back, it was December 2004. I started as a recruitment, and for me, it was HR, it was only recruitment. That was my view at that point. But then I started to learn about talent management, learning and development, organizational culture, and that's how my view started to get expanded. So that's also another thing that truly has driven me to become I believe, a better professional, right? And last but not least, you know that in all this theory about time management, there's a concept that you need to learn to say no. So in the contrary, for me, in the field of HR, I always have said yes to new challenges, and that has driven me to learn new things, to engage with different countries, to engage with different cultures, engage even other portions of the business, and even now in this challenge that I have, leading HR in a different country. So mainly those are the main points, Gaby.
Thank you. And how important is to learn and implement diversity and inclusion at the workplace and learning about other cultures. So thank you so much for that. You also have mentioned that your purpose is to enable personal and organizational transformation. Can you share an example of how you have achieved this in your current job at Visteon?
Sure. So right now I'm leading HR here at US, and we're approaching in the transformation in mainly in three elements. One, it's organizational health. The other one is around HR transformation, and the other one is how can we build a sense of life satisfaction within the workplace. in a sense of the organizational health, what we're focusing is how can we have the right structure to have the right collaboration, having agile teams. Also, how can we align the work in order to generate meaningful impact? And how can we build the leadership pipeline for the future? So that's in the portion of organizational health, right? In terms of HR transformation, so it's shifting from a transactional type of HR, and maybe it's not now a new concept, but it's what we're driving. It's how to become a true business partner, right? And the whole purpose is to focus in generating true business impact. And again, rather than a transactional type of role. And in terms of life satisfaction within the workplace, so we have created a yearly program that we named Seasons of Growth. Then on a monthly basis, we have defined themes that we believe are meaningful for the employees. And usually the monthly themes follow the same structure. We have conference from subject matter experts, right? Where they share their experience, and as well we have certain activities that nurture collaboration and engagement, right? So for example, March was the wellness month, April was the financial literacy month, and that's the way that we're approaching and having a more thriving workplace at Visteon. So actually, that's how we are trying to approach this organizational transformation. Does that make sense, Gabby?
Yes, yes. Gerardo, you want to say something?
No, I mean, just really interesting how you made also the switch, Eduardo, from Mexico to the US, specifically Detroit, which is, I mean, a really interesting city. But yeah, just think about that.
And Eduardo, you were mentioning something extremely important that we talked about here in this podcast about like just switching from transactional work to become a strategic HR partner. Can you mention one example of how would you achieve that?
Yes, that's a really good question. So something that both my leaders and myself identify as an opportunity is that the role that we had in the past was doing more focus in HR services, right? And obviously are services that are important, meaningful for the employees. But if we want to shift that focus to business partnering, right, we need to free up some time in that sense, right? So actually what we did is leveraging with a really good partner inside the HR organization. We partner with HR operations to shift those services to the HR operations area. And that it's allowing us to free up some time so we can have more frequent conversation with the leaders, working more in terms of organizational design, talent management, succession management. So that's the whole intent. And even the change has been so fast that we leverage with agile methodologies. So it has given us really, really positive results in that sense.
Thank you so much. Great pointers. Awesome. Changing the HR structure and yeah, that allowed us to focus on becoming a strategic partner. Thank you for that. And my next question is about leadership. So empowering other leaders is crucial in any organization. What strategies do you use to mentor or to develop emerging leaders within your team?
So I'm going to share a little bit of my approach, and then maybe I will share a quick story. So I think for me, one of the main strategies is giving the people the opportunity to learn, right? give them challenges. And in a sense, it's taking them to an extreme on the job learning approach, right? And I think that's the way as well that Visteon has developed me in a sense, right? Visteon will challenge you, will give you the opportunity to learn, and as well the support to learn. So I truly believe in that sense. Throughout that opportunity, I need to share feedback, constant feedback, maybe finding that moments to have teaching moments role, right? And also have the opportunity in sometimes to roll up your sleeve and work hand to hand with the employees, right? And something that I really appreciate, and I think I have incorporated in very early stages in my professional career, is acknowledging that we are going to make mistakes in the way. But as long as we are committed and we're together, that's fine, right? So I think that's one of the best opportunities. So for example, when I was the HR manager in one of the production facilities, right? We changed the recruiter leader, and I give the opportunity to an intern with super high potential to lead the recruitment team of the facility. And he was at the beginning, he was so scared, and I said, "Hey, I believe in you. Definitely, we're going to make mistakes." And actually, we changed the dynamics of the production facility. We achieved the recruitment goals at that time, and actually we improved significantly the engagement and the retention of the people. And right now he's a manager of the HR manager of as well of a production facility. So for me, that's one of the success stories following this path, right? But something that I believe it's very important is that the employee is willing to take this approach.
Wow, what a great example. And yes, I think more companies should do that as well, like trust in this new talent, emerging leaders, and give them the opportunity, trust them, embrace change, embrace learning, embrace making mistakes. So yeah, what a great example. Gerardo.
Yes, and Eduardo mentioned something really important. You should never forget to be a hands-on person, right? I mean, even if you are the CEO or the CHRO or whatever, you should always be open to help out people and mentor others. I mean, which is great. Sure.
Yeah, so Gerardo, maybe you have more questions for Eduardo?
Yes, of course. I was just checking my notes. This is going faster than I thought, but I mean, only because it's really interesting, you know. So with Lalo or Eduardo, and well, Eduardo, of course, one of the key topics of our podcast is leadership. So, how would you describe your leadership style, and how has it evolved over the years?
Okay. So again, I'm going to share what I think are some skills and traits of my leadership style. And also I'll share now, not a success story, but a really meaningful learning for me, right? So one of the skills that I truly believe it's one of my strengths, right? And maybe in some cases I might say that I can overuse it, is self-awareness. And maybe it's because my professional career. And this has helped me a lot to broaden my perspective and overcome weaknesses. So in a sense, something that I believe I do really well is when I made a mistakes, I will acknowledge it. Sometimes I even can go straight forward. Hey, I made a mistake, right? When I need to do that, right? And incorporate even the feedback or the learning that I had, right? So for example, when I started my career as a leader, the first time that I had a team reporting to me. So as a new leader, I was so focused in micromanaging the team, right? And as well, I thought of myself that I was a very innovative and creative person or employee or leader, right? And one of my team members approached me and she said to me, hey, Lalo, you believe that yourself are very, very creative, very innovative, but you don't give the opportunity to listen to us. And for me, it was a major learning. It was hard. It was hard. I don't believe it was hard. But since that time, I think I started to, when we're in a meeting, usually try to listen to all the perspective, try to find ways to build a collective solution rather than an approach of just a few or my approach, right? And when we have done that is when we have given the best results in that sense, right? So that's one of the examples that, yes, when you receive that type of feedback, it's hard, but you have the decision either to incorporate the learning or continue with the same approach, right? Sometimes I have been more stubborn in that sense, right? It has taken me a while, maybe even years, right? But that's something that you continue learning in that sense, right? Also, I think I have a good way to integrate the multiple perspectives, driving the teams to big changes and give positive results, right? And also similar to what I mentioned, I think there has been significant hurdles in my journey or challenges. Some of them has been painful, but I have learned that the magic happen within the team is when there's no hidden agenda, right? When all the team is aligned to what we're looking for, what are the goals, right? We can overcome the resistance to change, and also that the team believes that we can become better, right? And together that we can generate an impact. So when that happens, it's magical in a sense.
Yes, totally. And I mean, what you just said is about setting aside your ego and making sure people understand that it's about the company, the team. I mean, it's not about an individual person, right?
Right.
It is more than that. And working in the US, you've been there maybe how many months? 6 months already, or 7 months?
Yeah.
How has it been to adapt to other styles of leadership? I mean, working in Monterrey, and Gabby is also from Monterrey, she's in Canada. I mean, the work ethic and the pace is kind of similar, but of course, the culture in Detroit is different. So what can you tell us about that? You know, the leadership with your teammates in Michigan and other places in the company.
Yeah, that's an interesting question, right? So something that I appreciate from the culture here in Michigan, I think it's straight to the point. That's something that I truly appreciate in that sense, right? It also challenge you because sometimes, or the difference that I have noted in comparison to the culture, for example, back in Monterrey or other cities in Mexico, that maybe it's more, I will call it more idealistic in terms, right? So actually it's how can we become better to generate better results, right? Obviously with a true respect of the employees, the differences, right? It's impressive the diverse environment and context that you will find in Michigan, right? The multiple countries, it's amazing. I think it enriches the social environment, right? And I think something as well that I'm admiring, and I think we should learn as Mexicans from the US. It's the respect for the people that have more experience than you, right? That you can be as well adding value to the company. So I think that it's also something super significant and meaningful for me in that sense, Gerardo.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I like to say something as well because, well, I like to highlight two things. Well, one of them is you mentioned that when you were describing your leadership style, about like asking for feedback, requesting feedback, listening, and then taking action on that. So I think it takes a lot of courage, and more leaders, they should do that as well. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And the second one is you were describing working in a multicultural environment, which is sometimes challenging if we're not willing to learn. And so I think it's very key success factor is to learn about high context cultures versus low context cultures to be successful on how we communicate in a multicultural environment.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Gabi. And well, wrapping up, and by the way, Eduardo, your English is quite good. You were kind of hesitant to talk in English, but
so it's the first time I'm always scared to recordings, cameras. It's not something that it's taking me out of my comfort zone, to be honest.
Which is good. That's always good,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Well, wrapping up, what advice would you give to aspiring HR leaders who want to make an impact in a company or in a team, or even studying something related to human resources?
So I think it will vary at the stage that you are. So, and maybe many HR leaders might think different of me, but first I will, if you're in the early stages of your HR career, I think you should spend and take the opportunity to learn from the different areas of HR, right? And find those ones that resonate with you, where you think your skills can be leveraged. I think that for me, it's because it will give you a really nice foundation of what HR is. Because if you start only focusing in a field, then you start losing the perspective of how all the pieces come together. So that will be my advice at your first stages of the career. also something for me that it was super relevant. I'm always thirsty to learn about best practices, benchmarking, connecting with thought leaders. That's something that I really enjoyed. So if you have the opportunity, and I think this one makes sense at all the stages of your professional career, growing your network, I think that it's super important and super learning, and a super learning opportunity in that sense, right? So I think that also is a key, right? And as well, knowing the business as well, and how the decisions that are related to talent impact the business results. I think that it's key, right? But to that point, you need to know the financials of the company, how to generate money. That is as well super important. And the only way to do that is to engage in the operational system of the company, right? So as well, that's also good. And also taking challenges, new opportunities. And again, I always have said yes to the opportunities. So for me, that has been the most meaningful and impactful in my career in that sense, Gerardo.
Good advice. Yeah, and again, being scared is good. And if you make a mistake, that's all right.
Yes.
I mean, it's better trying something than not.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Eduardo, for your time. It's been really, really delightful, and I think that we've learned a lot of interesting facts about leadership and the HR function. Gabi.
Thank you so much, Eduardo. Thank you for all the insights. And thank you so much, Gerardo, for another episode. Thanks to our listeners for tuning in to another episode of the Grateful Leader podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. Until the next time, but before we leave, Eduardo, where can people reach out to you?
Oh, I think the best is LinkedIn, right? I think you can find me there as Eduardo Perez, right? I work for Visteon, and I'm super proud of working for Visteon in that sense. So please, you can connect via LinkedIn message, and then we can share and exchange mails for sure, right? So again, Gabi, Gerardo, it has been a pleasure. Thank you for taking me out of my comfort zone. Again, this is this is a challenge for me, but it's the only way to learn and grow in that sense. So again, thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thanks. See you.
See you. Bye-bye.
Bye.